Kyle over here at the Horror File. I am starting a new series today that is going to, I'm probably going to be uploading a good bit of these videos. I had started my Tartan Asia Extreme series. I started uploading videos to those, which I really enjoy those series, and I'm going to keep up that series. But this one actually means a little bit more to me. I really enjoy this kind of category of movies, so I think I may do a little bit more of these and try to keep up this series as well. So the main videos I'm going to try to upload for review-wise are the Tartan Asia Extreme movies, which I watch a lot of, and I'm going to start doing this disturbing movies category. There's a lot of movies out there that people consider disturbing. I own a good bit of them that people consider disturbing, but there is a select category of specific aspects that directors touch on and writers touch on that that's a little bit more disturbing than others. So I wanted to kind of start it off with something that is to me pretty disturbing, and it's by one of my favorite directors as well, being Takashi Miike. I always mess up his name every time I say it. I always say Takeshi for some reason. I don't know why. It's Takashi Miike. The guy has directed hundreds of movies probably. I think his IMDb has over 100 movies he's directed. Some of my favorite movies by him, he's got, he did Audition, he did an Imprint, he's done The Three Extremes, he did Ley Lines, Rainy Dog, just a crap ton of movies. I'm actually reviewing this one today, which I have watched this movie twice. This movie is just out there. This movie is called Visitor Q. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Visitor Q. I actually watched this movie a couple months ago, and then I just recently watched it yesterday again because I wanted to start this, start this series up. Visitor Q is a really, really off the wall, just like odd, movie with disturbing elements. I would honestly probably consider this, on the borderline of horror. It's not really a thriller. It's not really 100% horror. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that is just like hard to think of. I guess you could consider it horror elements, but it's really kind of a hard movie to describe. If you guys are familiar with Miike, the movie Gozu is probably one of the weirdest movies by him I've ever seen. This is definitely along the lines of the same category. Visitor Q is probably up there with one of the weirdest movies by Miike I've ever seen. So I'll kind of get into it. This is gonna be a really hard one to review because it's so off the wall that there's just so much going on in this movie. There's so many characters. There's so much weird stuff going on. One minute there's something going on, and the next minute it's something completely different. But I'm gonna try my best to give you guys kind of a brief synopsis. I really feel like this movie has an underlying meaning to it, meaning that I feel like a lot of the events that happen in this movie are underlying for a specific reason. Like there's an actual subject that Miike or somebody was trying to get across. Miike did write and direct this movie, I believe. Miike. Let's see who. Yeah, wrote and directed this movie. So I'm pretty sure he was trying to get across a specific point. This movie's been compared. Well, this movie started off with it. It came out in 2001, so it's fairly old. It is shot on camera. It's a shot on camera movie, so it's almost like a POV style. Very, very low budget. Like the camera work is very low budget considering a lot of the movies that Miike has done. He does a lot of like Yakuza movies and things of that nature. A lot of action movies, as well as horror movies. This kind of falls in between, and the camera work is not his best. But I think that's the reason they wanted to make a low budget movie with this. This movie's compared, if anybody's ever seen this other movie, it's compared to Pier Paolo Pasolini's. If you're not familiar with that director, he did Salo, The 120 Days of Sodom, Tenorama, Teorema, Tenorama. I've never seen that movie, but it's been compared to that according to what I've read about it. Also, this movie was filmed as the sixth and final part of the Love Cinema series. They came out with 6 movies in Japan back in 2000, 2001 that were straight to video releases by independent filmmakers. and they were low budget, and they tried to explore the low cost of digital media. So at the time, they made these movies to explore the low cost of this kind of media and like how to make this. It's a really low budget movie. I mean, the acting is not that great. The camera work is definitely not that great compared to a lot of the other stuff I've seen by Miike. Like I said, he's one of my favorite directors, and this is definitely not my favorite film by him by any means, if even the top five. But to kind of get into the plot of this movie pretty much it starts out with the whole movie starts out with like a sex scene. It's like almost like a porno scene at the beginning of this movie where this guy who is a reporter, like a journalist, he is at like this prostitute club or like this like brothel, and he's trying to have sex with this girl who ends up being his daughter. You find out. He is, bribing or offering to have sex with this girl, and it's very odd. It's a very odd situation. He ends up having sex with her. She gives him a price. They have sex, and he ends up pre-ejaculating, I guess you want to say, like too early, and she gets mad about it and says to him that he has to pay extra. Which he's not happy about. And then he finds out the camera that he brought in, because he's actually filming a documentary or like a short on teen violence, I believe it is. On Japanese youth. He's doing like a documentary or like a kind of like a shot on camera documentary about Japanese youth and like how they grow up and the struggles they face. And I guess he went into this brothel to kind of tape that. Well, he ended up finding his daughter in there, which I think she's like an estranged daughter. She's not really in his life very much, but he finds out it's his daughter, but he still wants to have sex with her, which is kind of really nasty. And they end up having sex, and his camera's rolling throughout the whole time, and pretty much they have sex, and it gets caught on camera. Well, at the end of the time they have sex, he's like, don't tell anybody about this, you're not going to tell anybody about this, and she's like, I won't say anything. She's really stupid, really dumb girl. Then he ends up going home. This movie's actually shot in sequences. So the first sequence, it starts out, it says, have you ever had sex with your father? And then it shows that scene. And then the next scene says, have you ever hit your mother? And then it shows that scene. And between those two first scenes, the journalist guy that had sex with his daughter is walking home, and he's approached by this guy who ends up being Visitor Q. There's a Japanese guy smoking cigarettes. He just looks like a cool, hip kind of Japanese dude, and he gets hit over the head by Visitor Q. And this is kind of one of those scenes that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, some of these scenes are really hard to follow with what kind of the point they were coming across with these movies. He gets hit over the head by Visitor Q with a rock, and then the next scene, it cuts out. The next scene cuts back in, and they're eating dinner together. So I wasn't really sure, they don't really explain how that happens. He gets hit in the head with a rock, and then they end up eating dinner together. Well, Visitor Q's staying with them this entire time. The mother is getting beat by their son, this little brat, who's like, he has this like whole torture rack in his room, and he's like beating his mom with all this different stuff if she doesn't follow his orders. Then the dad is having sex with his daughter, and he doesn't even pay attention to the mother. The mother has all these bruises all over, and she's just really annoying. Well, anyway, the movie kind of like focuses on this family, and Visitor Q's at this family, and he ends up seducing pretty much all the members of the family. The mother, he starts, there's like some really disturbing scenes in this movie where the mother is like lactating out of her nipples, and he's like squeezing the milk out, and it's so low budget. I don't know if this happening, is it real? I guess because she's not being shown any attention by the father. So Visitor Q comes in and starts showing her attention, and for some reason, he starts lactating her, and like there's really disturbing scenes of her being lactated by him, and it looks really real. I can't tell if it's real or not. It didn't even say it when I looked it up online. But there's scenes of that, and then there's a lot of scenes. There's a lot of kind of pornographic scenes. I think it was pretty disturbing when the father had sex with the daughter. To me, that the thought of that's kind of disturbing and gross. And then there's a scene where like the kid, the son, is being like tortured. Like they call it bullying in the movie, but it's literally torture. He's being tortured by his fellow like student, like his fellow like the people he goes to school with, like these kids are like beating up on him. And then there's this one scene where the dad's like watching the kids beat up on him, and he's taping it for his documentary. And then this one kid starts pissing on him, like starts peeing on his son, and he's just sitting there taping like no big deal. And like it's just really the dad pretty much throughout the whole movie is just taping all this messed up stuff that's happening to his family. And he knows that Visitor Q's doing this, pretty much doing this stuff with his wife. And then there's his dad is a reporter, obviously, and he's like out watching his son get pissed on with another fellow reporter, and the fellow reporter doesn't want to have anything to do with it. She's a woman, so he ends up killing this woman and raping her like right on the ground in midday. And then they bring her body back to the house, and he rapes her dead body again. And his dick gets caught inside of her. This sounds crazy. There's no linear storyline to this. It's just like different scenes of this stuff happening, and then there's an underlying, I guess there's like an underlying meaning behind this movie. So there's a scene where he's fucking this dead corpse of this woman that he just killed, that he worked with. His dick gets caught in her. They have to get his dick out, and then they end up chopping her up. There really is no. There is a conclusion to this movie, but there's really no, linear storyline to it. It's just Visitor Q comes, all this stuff happens. I think in my opinion, the underlying meaning to this movie is probably going to be, this family was in distress before Visitor Q came. They were just not close. They had all this messed up stuff going on. Visitor Q comes, shows all of them attention, and then the family just comes back together. Because at the end of the movie, the family's like really tight-knit and really close. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I can gather from it. This is the Tokyo Shock release of Visitor Q. I'm pretty sure this does not have a Blu-ray release. It's only on DVD. I would give this on a disturbing level. It depends on what you watch. My opinion, I see a lot of messed up movies. This is definitely not nowhere near the most disturbing I've ever seen, but I put it up there. I would say it's probably on a disturbing level, maybe a 6.5 out of 10. I definitely consider, if you don't watch this kind of stuff normally, you would probably consider this disturbing because of the incest. There's woman lactating. There's a lot of like rape. There's a lot of necrophilia. It's got a lot of stuff going for it as far as on the disturbing level goes. It's got a son hitting his mom. It's just really off the wall. If you're not really into Japanese cinema, this is going to be a hard watch for you because it's really hard. I watch a lot of Japanese movies, and this was really hard for me to follow, kind of like Gozu. But recommend checking it out if you're into disturbing cinema, if you're into Miike movies. It's up there. I would say on the disturbing level, 6.5 out of 10. On a movie level, I would probably give this a 4.5, 5 out of 10. I did not really care for this movie that much. I've revisited it, and I probably won't revisit it again. So Visitor Q, check it out. 2001 Miike film. Let me know what you think. If you like, this disturbing movies series so far, let me know. I would like to continue. There's a lot of movies out there that I really want to continue to start reviewing as far as disturbing movies wise. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up. Share the video, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And until next time, I appreciate you guys watching. Peace out. See ya.